Welcome to another live workshop hosted by Mi Escuelita Online Academy. I am going to make sure we are live in the right group before we get started. So while I do that, if you could give us a little bit of love so the rest of the families are able to find us, that would be amazing. Also, hashtag live if you're watching us and joining us now, or hashtag replay if you are catching the replay. All right. Let's see. I am double checking. Oh, there we are. We are live. Awesome. All right, so let me go back to, there we are. Again, welcome to another live from Mi Escuelita Online Academy. My name is Lina Munoz. I am the founder, CEO, head teacher, and custodian at Mi Escuelita Online Academy. And happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. At Mi Escuelita Online Academy, we provide tons of resources. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I give you that list of all the resources. We provide academic support for students ages 3 all the way to 8 years old. We provide reading and math support during the day, the school day, and after school and tutoring sessions. So if your child needs support closing a gap that they may have to be successful next year, Mi Escuelita Online Academy has you covered. If you need support because your child already knows the skills that they needed or need for the next school year, but you want to make sure that they're even more ahead of the game, Mi Escuelita Online Academy has you covered. So not only does Mi Escuelita Online Academy provide academic support, tutoring support, we also provide parent and family resources like this parent workshop. All right, so let's talk about today's topic. In today's workshop, we are talking about the 7 essential skills that a child needs to be successful. Now, when we think life skills, sometimes we think of folding clothes, doing the laundry, sweeping, mopping, paying bills, purchasing car insurance, purchasing a home, buying groceries. Yes, those are all life skills. Brushing your teeth, taking a shower. Those are all life skills. And friends, those life skills are not always taught at school. Today, we're digging a little bit deeper on some other life skills that are essential for your child to be successful. What are the benefits of those life skills, and how can we teach our child those essential life skills? So let's get started with the first essential life skill: focus and self-control. Students thrive on routine. Children thrive on routine and habits. It helps them feel secure. It helps build their self-esteem. So those are the benefits on helping your child with this life skill of focus and self-control. So when it comes to teaching your child to focus and have self-control, one of those ways are by creating a schedule. And we actually talked about creating a schedule. I think it was in last week's workshop. By creating a schedule, you're helping your child focus on what's important to them and to you as a family. You're helping them to have self-control and know what needs to happen first before something else happens. Using a schedule helps instill habits of self-control and focus. I'm going to focus on this one thing that's on my schedule, and then I'll do the next thing. Some other activities that you can do to help increase your child's focus is reading a book. That helps them focus. I'm focusing on reading a book. Putting a puzzle together according to their age group helps increase their focus and self-control. It helps them to slow down and it increases their focus and self-control. So that's the first essential life skill, focus and self-control. Consider looking at last week's live on schedules to help with this area. All right, the next essential life skill number 2 is perspective taking. So let me tell you a little bit what that means. Perspective taking means noticing and understanding how someone else might be feeling. And this doesn't come naturally to children. It doesn't come naturally to us as adults, but it is something that we can develop in our child. And the reason why this is important is because it helps our child to build relationships, to know how to communicate in the work environment. Just those two are huge benefits. By teaching our child how to take perspective of someone else's feelings in the moment, it helps them to be a better communicator. It helps them be successful in work and relationships. So how do we do that? Okay. So you can discuss, so when you're reading a story, you can talk to them about, look at that character, look at that character's face. How do you think they're feeling? So we just read a story in Mi Escuelita Online Academy. It was called Stick and Stone. And I said, how do you think Stone is feeling right now? Can you show me that face? Well, what do you do when you're feeling sad? Oh, sometimes you need space. Yes. Or a hug. Yes. Talking about feelings helps a child notice other people's feelings. Look at the character's face. How do you think they're feeling? So when you're reading stories, you can help your child develop perspective taking. You could also talk to them about being aware of body language. So for example, that body language is showing they're not interested, or this, maybe they're sad. So talking to your child to notice somebody's facial expressions and body language helps them to understand how that person is feeling and then to know what they should do. The third essential life skill that will help your child be successful in life is communication. Obviously, that's huge, right? So the benefits of communication, I don't think I need to go too in depth into this, but I will a little bit. When a child is able to communicate, they'll be successful in their personal relationships and their professional relationships. They're more likely to get better paying jobs, raises. They're more probable to develop stronger bonds and relationships because they're good at communicating. So how do we teach a child to communicate? And I'm going to talk to you about young kids and a little bit older kids because I have teenagers now. So one way to help your child to communicate is by talking to them. You can purposefully, with intention, have a conversation with them, and that's practice. The other way is when you're about to go somewhere. Let's say you're going to visit someone. You can be purposeful and for a long time say, okay, remember, when we go inside to this gathering, to this party, we're going to say hello to everyone. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. And you're teaching your child that when they see someone, they should greet them. They should ask them, how are they doing? So you're teaching them how to communicate. So they can practice with you. They can practice with the family member. So like example, like when you're going to a party, you could practice with the family member and say, okay, we're going to go visit grandma. We're going to go visit aunt and uncle, your tia, your aunt. And so you know what? Your aunt just came back from vacation. We should ask her how it went. And then that you could practice with them. Like, what could we ask her? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's ask her what was her favorite thing about her trip. And you practice with them. Now, with older kids, it's all about texting and messaging. So, how we practice positive and effective communication with teenagers is by saying, okay, sweetie, you're telling me that your friend and you are going back and forth about something. When you're going back and forth, or you need to talk about something more serious.
I'm reminding you.
Oh, sorry
Turn
about
off
that.
water.
Oh, I use Alexa for everything. When you're going back and forth with someone about something that's really important, pick up the phone and call them or do a video call. And you know what? We practice that with our teenagers because nowadays people, including myself, the majority of our communication is through texting or messaging. And a lot of the times, texting and messaging isn't always 100% clear. You can have your child practice by saying, okay, let's practice what you're going to tell your friend, what you're going to tell your teacher, and you're going to tell them in person or through a telephone call, not texting. All right, all right. Let's jump into life skill number 4. The fourth essential life skill to help your child be successful is making connections. So, what does that mean? It actually means quite a few things. Making connections is understanding how one thing is connected to another, or what one thing helps them understand, how one thing will help them understand the world a little bit better. So I'm going to go into it's them seeing kind of like patterns, right? How things are connected. So let's say you were planning to do something today, and you were planning to do it early in the morning because it gets really hot. And you made a list of 3 places you were going to go as a family. But you guys went to sleep really late last night and woke up super late. So now you can't really do 3 things. Maybe you're only doing 2 things. So later on during that day, you could have a conversation with your family and say, "Hey, so why didn't we do all those the 3 things we had decided to do?" And you have that conversation. "Oh, it's because we didn't have time." "Well, why didn't we have time?" "Oh, because we woke up late." "Why did we wake up late?" "Because we went to sleep late." And so they start making a connection that if I had wanted to do all 3 things, I needed to wake up early. If I needed to wake up early, I needed to go to sleep a little bit earlier. So they're making those connections that will help them later on in life. So, for example, maybe choosing the clothes that they're going to wear for a special event. What is a connection if you don't choose a clothes? Well, that you might not have exactly what you want to wear. Um, let's say you didn't they didn't put their clothes away in the laundry, or in the laundry room, or in the laundry basket, or whatever process you have. Well, the next day they're not going to have that clothes that they wanted to wear, so they're making that connection. Because the thing is, we could tell them, as you know, till we get blue in the face, well, you should have put it in the laundry room. Well, you put it in the laundry room, put your dirty clothes in the laundry room, and we should do that. But it's really important for them to make the connection, like, oh, to ask them, like, "Oh, so what happened? I thought you were going to wear this." Later on when they're calm, right? Because we don't have these conversations when they're upset or when we're upset. "Oh, that's right. It wasn't in the laundry room." Okay, so we got to remember that if we want to wear something, then that we want need to make if we want to wear something the next day or really soon, we need to make sure it's in the laundry, or we need to make sure that we put it in the washer, or we need to make sure that we put it in the dryer. Making connections, helping them to make those connections. This is a hard one too, because you want to make sure that You could also do something like, observing other people, not talking about other people, but observing the other people and saying, so let's say you see a little kid who's throwing a tantrum and you say, oh, I hope she's okay. Why do you think she's so upset? Oh, okay, maybe she's hungry. Yeah, maybe. Do you ever get upset when you're hungry? What could we do to avoid getting so hungry that we start screaming? We could pack a snack. All right. Next time we're going to go out, let's make sure we pack a snack so we can enjoy our afternoon. Making connections is critical. All right, let's talk about the fifth essential skill. Critical thinking is a life skill that they don't necessarily teach in school, but they do. They do talk about critical thinking. The critical thinking that we're talking about is a little bit different than the one that they teach in school. In school, they'll have a child read a passage, read a story, and then answer comprehension questions. The type of critical thinking that I'm talking about is a little bit different. It's more about critical thinking in our world and how they need information to make decisions for their life or things that happen on an everyday basis. So several ways to teach your child this is by playing board games. That's a great way to have them do some critical thinking like Clue or Sorry, because they have to think, what is my next move? Why should I do it? They're having to think of a lot of information through Monopoly, through memory games, through puzzles, doing like a structure, building a Lego or Mega Blocks, because those are bigger for younger kids. Playing, role playing is a great way to build critical thinking. Like, oh, so we're going to play this. What will we need to play this? Another great way to think of critical thinking, playing tag or hide and seek, because that's fast critical thinking. They have to think of, where am I going to hide? Which way am I going to go? And you can actually have a light conversation about it. Hey, why did you decide to hide there? Oh, why did you go this way? Why did you go that way? Not too deep, right? But it's still getting them to think. Again, some of the board games that you can play, Jenga, Clue, Sorry. And it's a way for children to learn to take risks, to think of a hypothesis, to try out their ideas. Life skill number 6, taking on challenges. Now, at school, students are challenged to a different level. These challenges that I'm talking about when it comes to life skills are a little bit different. One of the most important traits that we can develop or help our child develop is resiliency. Things in life are hard. Things in life are hard. And in order to be successful, we need to teach our child to take on a challenge. And that's okay if we make mistakes. And that's okay if we don't get it right away. Teaching our child to take on a challenge and bounce back, even if they fail, is a life skill that will ensure their success in their personal life and their professional life. So some ways that there's a lot of different ways you can help them to take on challenges. One way is by giving them positive affirmations. So saying things like, this is hard. This puzzle is hard, or this reading this book is hard. Whenever you have to do something that's difficult, I want you to tell yourself, I am capable of doing difficult things. I am capable of doing difficult things. I learn from my mistakes. So having those positive phrases, and you can look them up, there's tons of them. I think I have one that I can post in the group, helps your child have that mindset that of, I can take on challenges and I can do this. Let's see. Let me make sure I wanted to share something else about challenging. So encouraging your child to try different things. Because sometimes when something is challenging, us as parents, or at least myself, sometimes I'll be like, you know what, it's okay. It's okay. We'll do it later, or don't worry about it. You don't have to do it. Because sometimes it's easier to say, don't do it. Don't worry about it. Like, for example, tying their shoes. Nowadays, kids don't really tie their shoes. It's Velcro, and then the shoelaces are so short that they don't really tie their shoelace maybe until middle school. So that's a challenge that little kids can take on. Another one is riding a bike, even climbing a tree with your support and being safe. It's something that that nowadays we don't really do as much as we did before. So those are some challenges that you could kind of give your child. Reading at the next level, riding their bike, tying their shoe, doing a math problem, taking on a challenge. A challenge could be, you know what? We're going to challenge ourselves to read 5 books a week. We're going to challenge ourselves to do this, to do that, whatever it might be. And using those positive affirmations, those positive sayings to encourage them to keep on going. And whenever they make a mistake, saying, well, we did make a mistake, or you did make a mistake, but what did we learn from this mistake? This mistake is awesome. It's helping us to learn, to improve. So let's take it and grow. The next and last life skill is being self-directed and engaged learning. So let me tell you what that means, because this is a life skill that that I say all of them right there. It's so critical. So being self-directed, it basically means that a child is motivated on their own to engage in learning, because as a successful person is always learning. They're always learning. I know I'm constantly learning, and I'm sure you are too. And an essential life skill to teach our child is that they should always be learning and growing, and that they should take it upon themselves to find different ways to grow and to learn. Not necessarily meaning that they need to take another class or course or workshop or degree, but that they can learn in so many different ways. I know that I constantly look for a self-improvement book to read to help improve my teaching, and not only in my personal life, but in my professional life. So some things that you could do to help your child do that is try to limit electronics. I know that's hard, but try to limit electronics, because there isn't too much thinking going on with electronics. And it really does take them away from other things. That doesn't mean they should never learn to use electronics, but limit that. Plenty of reading. They learn so much through reading, which I'm going to talk to you about in a little bit. Play, having them play, explore, going hiking, going to the zoo, going on bike rides, doing art, visiting the library, making crafts, playing games together, and allowing for messy things to happen in our homes, baking and making Play-Doh and doing all these things that will help your child know that it's okay to learn, and that it's messy, and that it's fun, and that it can involve everyone. Friends, I hope that you found these 7 essential life skills helpful. Focus and self-control was the first one. Go back to last week's live about schedules. Perspective taking will help them in their relationships and to know how to communicate. Communication can be practiced. It should be something that we're intentional about, that our children know how to greet, how to ask people questions, how to interact with people. It's going to make them a millionaire in their heart and in their bank account. Making connections, knowing that if this happens, if I do this, this is going to happen. If this happened, then this might happen. Helping them make connections. Critical thinking about using information to take risks, to think of ideas. So then that way they're not being told what to do in life, but that they're using all the information to make good decisions for themselves and their families. Taking on challenges. If we want our children to grow and to learn and to live an amazing life, they need to know that they can take on challenges, that they should take on challenges, that they might fail, and that that's okay. They're going to learn from their mistakes and their failures. Self-directed, engaged learning. We need to teach our child that life is beautiful and that life is changing and that we should continue to learn every single day. Friends, talking about learning, and critical thinking, I want to share something with you, that a resource that we provide to all of our students that are enrolled in Mi Escuelita Online Academy. And if your child isn't enrolled in our classes, you can access this resource as well. So I'll show you this one, right? Oh, wait, I didn't share my screen. That would be a good idea. Let's see where. So let me share my screen. I want to share this amazing resource that we have here at Mi Escuelita available for students. Oh, it's this one actually. All right. This is our virtual library. And in our virtual library, there's tons of things that your child can learn. This virtual library is sent out to families once a week. So they get a different one every week. Now, in this virtual library, it's a safe place for your child to learn and to grow. As your personal librarian, I read a story to your child and they just click on there and it takes them directly to the story that I'm reading that week. Let's see if it'll play. Let me close some of these tabs. Hi, friends. Welcome to Storytime with Teacher M. And so I read them a story. We sing the color song in Spanish. So if you're wanting your child to learn Spanish, this is a great way, again, that they're learning constantly throughout the year. Learning a second language will be something that will help them in so many areas. Yay! Repeat after me. Rojo, red, rojo, red. And what's cool is they can listen to that as many times as they want. There's a ABC song, the months of the year, the weeks of the year, a video for them to, oops, did I close it? For them to practice, writing the numbers 1 through 20. There's always a science video in here. And there's obviously lots of books for them to listen to. And these are safe links that will take them only to the book and nowhere else. There's an art lesson in here for them, a dance, and something to challenge them. 3 new academic games every week. So, and then there's a lot of other links. There's a link to Sesame Street and PBS Kids. And there's a link to a math program in here as well. What's really cool about this is, again, this is sent out on a weekly basis to our families, and it's available to you. It's available to you. So if you would like to have this amazing tool for your children, it's a virtual library. It's only $5 a week. For as little as $5 a week, you get this virtual library that is hours of fun. So if your child does want to get on online, you know that they're going to be going somewhere safe where they're listening to a story. There's over 10 stories each week There's an art activity where they're drawing, a science lesson, a dance, songs, an opportunity for them to practice writing their numbers. It's amazing. And this week, if you are interested in the virtual library, hashtag virtual library, and I will send you all the information about our virtual library. Friends, family, I hope you found today's workshop about the 7 essential life skills to help your child to be successful helpful. And I can't wait to see you in our next workshop sponsored by Mi Escuelita Online Academy. Wishing you the best.